Dave Williams and Mike Lyons are with us from Media Wave Video Productions. There's a whole controversy going on related to the video that our TV audience will see behind and between their heads. Tell me a little bit about, first of all, what was the purpose of this video production, and then we'll get into kind of the development and the controversy.
Go ahead, Mike. Well, we came up with a concept for this commercial to be entered into the Super Bowl contest that Doritos and Pepsi or PepsiCo have sponsored. And we shot it. It was a little controversial in concept, and then when we actually submitted it, we started getting some negative feedback, which has basically turned into quite a controversial nationwide controversy.
And the controversy is because of the religious component. So, Dave, maybe tell us a little bit about exactly what is the religious component, especially to our radio audience, that is considered controversial by some.
Well, the setting is in a church. We picked a very non-denominational church. We have no religious symbols, no crosses, no vestment, no chalice. So the idea is this pastor who now is having trouble getting his flock back in the fold, and parishioners are down, but the bills are up. Asks for some help, and he gets a little divine suggestion through the sound effect of a Dorito crunch and a Pepsi bottle opening. We stripped as much as we could from this as far as religious symbols go, but we wanted that little bit of tension there. We wanted people to think, wow, are we seeing a communion here? But we gave enough visual clues, enough audio clues to show that it was not in fact communion.
Okay, and then before we get into how the controversy started, just as a full disclosure, what are your religious backgrounds? I mean, are you religious guys?
I am a Catholic.
I was brought up in a Christian household, and now I married a Jewish girl, and we're raising our kids Jewish. So we've got it all covered.
So what was the first moment where you caught wind that this might be growing into a real controversy?
Well, I think that on the website itself for the Crash the Super Bowl, we started to see a couple of negative comments in response to it. And then some of the blogs, the Christian blogs, picked up on that, and then it started to spread from there.
So what kind of blogs are these? I mean, are they religious blogs? Are they just conservative blogs?
Both.
Both?
Yes, mostly religious, heavy on the Catholic. And the interesting part for me is our studio has received many, many phone calls and emails. And my first response now is when people call, have you actually seen the spot? Have you seen the ad? And most people, they pause and they admit that they have not seen it. They've received emails, they've received marching orders from several of these blogs telling them what the commercial is and telling them what to say and telling them to sign the petition to boycott PepsiCo and Frito-Lay and telling them to call us and telling them basically what to do. And most of these folks who are, in fact, complaining have not seen the spot.
And to be clear, when someone says boycott Pepsi, Pepsi has not actually accepted this video or I mean, this is just one submission, right? Or am I wrong about that? This has not been endorsed by Pepsi, at least yet.
That's correct. And in fact, they just announced this past Monday the 10 finalists out of the 5,600 submissions that they received. We were not one of the finalists. However, we were in the top 10 of the most viewed submissions.
And the most discussed.
And the most discussed. So that really was part of the controversy, was that a lot of people were looking at it, talking about it, and yet we believe that partly because the spot was causing some controversy, that Pepsi and Frito-Lay probably elected to try to steer clear of the controversy. Obviously, no company wants to be threatened with any kind of boycott of their product.
You know, what's interesting to me is we've been jokingly talking about the supposed war on Christmas that exists and how Christianity and Catholicism is at risk of disappearing. I don't even know exactly what the war is, but here we see a perfect example of something that, I mean, let's be honest, if you just turn on Comedy Central, basically any time of day, there is more risque stuff than this, is being shut out completely because of the religious component.
Right. I mean, you think about things like South Park and all sorts of other things that are on the air that are very, very offensive. This doesn't even come close to it. And again, I think it's important for us to drive home some of the key points. I, as the pastor, wore a wedding ring, so obviously I couldn't be a Catholic priest. Priests in church do not serve communion in their collars.
See, it's good that you're telling me that, because as a good Jewish boy, I would have no idea what the priest would or wouldn't be wearing. Hey, Dave, I saw one piece from Fox News where they're basically framing this in the typical way that I see them frame these things. Is that the one piece that Fox has done, or have they done multiple on this now?
Well, we were on the O'Reilly Factor as well.
I saw the Megyn Kelly piece.
Yeah,
Megyn Kelly, yeah.
With Lars Larson, who took the negative. And then, of course, what's happening is we're seeing a lot of people that are saying, I don't see any harm with this. We understand the humor. We understand that this was done as a commercial, as a clever idea, and certainly they are not offended.
It's very clear at this point that no matter what happens with this particular video, the publicity around this has got to be just completely worth it for you guys, right?
Well, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, we'll let you know. It really has just exploded in the past couple of days. We've had a lot of interest. A lot of news outlets have called us and interviewed us, but we'll see.
I haven't had any acting jobs offered to me, that's for sure.
Do you think there's an oversensitivity about religion? I mean, just break it down in the last minute or so here. What is the bottom line on why this is causing such controversy?
Well, from my perspective as a Catholic, I think clearly that the people that are watching this are automatically assuming that that's the body and blood of Christ that we're serving in communion. That is the core of the issue here.
You know, as a pretty progressive guy, I could imagine actually having some concern if what was made light of or what was made fun of was pedophilia in the Catholic Church, which is a real issue. But you know what? Then it wouldn't even be an issue of the Catholicism. Making light of pedophilia at all would probably be concerning.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, actually, the church has bigger things to worry about with issues like that than a commercial like this, which, again, clearly was not intended to mock the church or be sacrilegious. As I said, I'm a Catholic, I'm practicing Catholic, and I wouldn't have done this if I didn't think we could do it in a tasteful way.
Did you find it funny, Dave?
I found it funny. I don't really like Doritos or Pepsi personally, so you know what? It's not going to convince me to buy either of them, but I thought it was funny. I was not at all offended, but, you know, my audience will say, hey, I'm Jewish. I'm going to be biased. I'm not going to be offended by anything Catholic, but you know how that is. You can't win them all. Dave Williams, Mike Lyons, Media Wave Video Productions. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you very much, Dave.